This is Dewan L. Hearn, more affectionately known as the Moon, and today we're going to be discussing championship title reigns since WrestleMania 40. So, like I said, I want to talk about championship title reigns since WrestleMania 40. And I want to talk about WrestleMania 40 because that's where we're seeing the beginning of the Paul Levesque or Triple H or D Generation X era. Like I said, D Generation X is very, very special to me because it was D Generation X that got me to watching professional wrestling, more specifically the New Age Outlaws. But DX kept me watching wrestling. So to see Triple H and Shawn Michaels actually running the show, it's pretty cool for a guy like me. Since WrestleMania 40, one of the things I've noticed is how much championships are now starting to change hands. Things are looking more like they did in the Attitude Era without looking like they're trying to repeat the Attitude Era. This is September 24th, 2024. This is a Tuesday. Last night was Monday Night Raw, and we saw the changing of hands of the Intercontinental Championship from Braun Breaker to Jey Uso. So first things first, congratulations, Jey Uso, on winning your first singles championship. But it got me really thinking. And I kind of noticed this beforehand, but I really, really wanted to make a video to make this point that since the Triple H era has officially begun, we look at SummerSlam a few years ago, but this is like the true official, you know, TKO Triple H era beginning. And championships are changing hands more and more often. The amount of times the IC championship has changed hands just since WrestleMania is a staggering difference than where it was just prior to that. With the Intercontinental Championship, particularly, Gunther had the title for 666 days, and now we've had three champions since then: Sami Zayn, Braun Breaker, and Jey Uso. This was almost unheard of in that era where Roman Reigns had the championship forever, and Gunther had the championship forever, and the Usos were tag team champions for almost 2 years or so. And it's nice to have stepped away from that and really just kind of looking at where things are going and how titles are changing hands. One particular reason, and I'll get into why this matters to me towards the end of the video. But before that, let me get to the boring part of me promoting myself. Um, I am an author. I am a podcaster. I have a couple other shows. I do a lot of things. The doer of things, the wearer of the Omni hat. And if you like what you're seeing here on this channel, whether it's the Moon Eagles Wrestling Show or any of the other programming that I'm going to put on here now and or later, feel free to give this video a like, give the channel a subscribe. I appreciate it. Comment on what you like and don't like. Be respectful. But I take that stuff to heart, and I'd like to know how I can grow and do some stuff better than I'm doing it. If you really want to support this channel and the things I'm going to be doing, you can go to DuanLHearn.com/shop and pick up one of these dope shirts. Everything comes back to wrestling. Because if you listen to the show, then you already know that everything comes back to wrestling. Or support me with my cool logo, hat, and stuff. Whatever it is that you're into, I hopefully have. If not, drop me a link or a like or a comment or whatever the things are and let me know. Now that's all out of the way, let's get into it. So on this list are the championships in WWE, not counting NXT, because NXT's kind of got their thing going. And I'm not discussing AEW this particular video because one, this is a WWE kind of focused video, as a lot of them tend to be. That is changing. But AEW seems to have this situation on lock already. They tend to change their championships over regularly enough to where nothing stands out as egregious. You know what I mean? Um, Tony Storm recently losing to Mariah May. The big tag team titles shakeups that we've had, more so with the ROH championships, but we're still doing this. The championships, they're moving, they're changing around pretty regularly. But at the same time, if they have fewer titles, it might be a little bit easier. Again, I'll get into what this overall point has to do with towards the end. In the meantime, in between time, just go over a couple of examples of what I mean here. For example, the World Heavyweight Championship. Seth Rollins, now mind you, brand new title, so it doesn't have a long history. But Seth Rollins still held that championship for 316 days. Yes, I wrote it all down. And in one night, WrestleMania night 2, title changes hands twice to 3 different people. Starts off with Seth Rollins, goes to Drew McIntyre, ends up with Damian Priest. Since then, it went to Gunther after Damian had a pretty decent run. I'm pretty proud of the Damian Priest run for the world title. Fantastic. He lost it at a time that made sense to lose it. Hopefully, he doesn't stay too far away from the title. He's got some Judgment Day business to deal with now, which is a great excuse to keep him away from the title. But he'll be back to it, and I think he's going to make a pretty decent run for it. In the once we get around the Rumble leading into WrestleMania 41. The women's championships, both 3 new champions since WrestleMania. One kind of by default. Sadly, Rhea got injured, couldn't defend the championship any longer, and she lost her title. That was a long run that she had. That was about a year from like Mania to Mania. But that title run made sense. Rhea was super over. She's still super over. So putting the belt and keeping the belt around your most popular stars just makes sense. But after that, it went to Becky. After Becky, it went to Liv. That was story. It was so that Liv is the bad guy, takes it from the good guy. Everything made sense. You didn't want Liv to get it right off the rip. Bleed. Injury. Bad puns is what I'm good for. When it comes to the women's world, the WWE Women's Championship, the one that Io Sky had for a good long run, it was a pretty decent run. I had that at 245 days. So almost a year. It was a pretty decent run. She lost it to Bayley, who has since lost it to Nia Jax, who, if you ask me, is going to lose it sooner than later to Tiffany Stratton. And I can't be any happier for that. I can't wait till the belt lands on Stratton. If you've watched this channel, if you listen to me, if you've gotten to know me in wrestling, I started off as a Tiffany hater. I was not a big fan of Tiffany Stratton. Then I got to see her in her match with Becky Lynch, and it really got to shine in that NXT Championship title thing she had going on. And I've been sold on Tiffany Stratton ever since then. She is next level. Moving into the tag team championships, because these are also good examples. Damian Priest and Finn Balor had the championships for a good bit, 200 something days, I think. 172 days. I wrote it down. I don't know why I'm not looking back at notes, but I have them just in case. 172 days, not that bad, but we're also looking off this spot where we had before Balor and Priest, we had should have been Jey Uso and Cody Rhodes. Before that, it was Sami Zayn and Kevin Owens, but before that, it was the Bloodline. It was the Usos, and they had it for 600 and some odd days. So you're looking at long time around, little boop, and then into Damian Priest when we break the titles up from the undisputed status into the 2 separate world titles, world tag team titles. Looking at the world tag team titles, that's the ones from Monday Night Raw. It went from Balor Priest to Awesome Truth to Judgment Day with Balor and McDonough. Over on the WWE Championship side, the tag team titles on SmackDown, it was Priest and Balor, uh, A Town Down Under, DIY, and now the Gorillas of Destiny, the Tongans, the Bloodline have the championships now. And again, this is all since WrestleMania. This is only 5 months of programming. 5 months, and the championships are changing hands so quickly. You have championships like the WWE Championship and the United States Championship, which have not changed hands a whole lot. Um, Logan Paul had the championship for a while. He had it post WrestleMania. Then he lost it to LA Knight, who I think will probably end up losing the championship sooner rather than later. I like the idea of where we're going right now with Carmelo Hayes and Andrade and LA Knight. And I'm hoping that at some point in time soon, maybe leading into Survivor Series, then subsequently Rumble, and then subsequently Mania, to start seeing the United States Championship dance between the three of them. There was a period of time where we had The Rock and Mick Foley going back and forth with the WWE Championship, and I actually enjoyed that a lot because as they kept fighting each other, because the title was allowed to change hands, you did not know who was going to be winning the championship in any given championship defense. So with the championship dancing amongst three people, particularly Knight and Hayes and Andrade, you have the potential having a really good program. The promotion of this Hayes versus Andrade series that they're doing, pretty damn good if you ask me. The matches have been great. It's elevated Andrade and Hayes. And honestly, the Rocket needs to be strapped to Hayes. Maybe not even this one. But either way it goes, I'm a huge fan of what we're doing right now. Go with it. And I would love to see the championship continue to change hands amongst these three. So no one's going to get one of those legendary title runs, but this can be a legendary period of time for that title, and those three will have their names attached to it. To me, that's still a positive. Again, with the WWE Championship, it had Roman and goes to Cody. I understand why Cody Rhodes might be holding the championship for a long time, but hopefully not too long. Hopefully not too long. I wouldn't mind seeing him lose the championship right before Mania and getting either caught up in the story or getting a title match back at WrestleMania to supplement whoever won the Royal Rumble, who's might go for the World Heavyweight Championship. Lots of things you can do with that at that period, but I wouldn't mind seeing the championship get dropped unexpectedly. Not to Kevin Owens, not to Roman Reigns, not to Solo or even Randy Orton. My pick, of course, would be Carmelo Hayes. If you watch this show enough, you should know I'm a huge fan of Carmelo Hayes. Like I just said, put the rock on the kid, send it to the moon. Not me, but the other one. The main one, not the second one that we suddenly have for a couple months. I digress. This is my highlighting of the tag team championships, the singles championships, the secondary championships. I don't know if I mentioned it in this particular run, so we're going to just say it again if I haven't. The women's tag team championships also have been changing hands pretty well. Started off with the Kabuki Warriors, then to Belair and Cargill, Unholy Union, and back to Belair and Cargill. And just examples in every single title division, just about where the championships are changing hands. It's creating stories, and this is the point I was trying to make at the beginning of the show. These championship title changes are creating championship divisions, clear and concise divisions that are obvious to the viewer. You know who's fighting for it, you know who's winning it, you know who's defending it, you know who's in that division. This is my issue with AEW. Because they have too many championships, go back and watch that video. Since they have too many championships, you don't know who's doing what in what division because all the titles seem to be on the same level. Their world title is here pretty clearly. But beyond that, everything else is a crapshoot. And you have no idea what any of it means. What's the difference between someone being good enough for the TNT title or the Continental Championship or the International Championship? It's unclear. And that's an issue I have. That's for another video. Um, I didn't want this video to be all too long. And to be quite honest, this is all I really got. So, again, take a moment, like the video, leave a comment on how you think the championship title divisions are being divided up, how you think the changing of the guard is being handled with each championship giving the opportunity to run for a while and then change hands. Do you like this change? Do you prefer long title runs? Let me know in the comments. So subscribe to the channel, visit DewanLHearn.com/shop. Do all the things or none of the things even. Meh. Either way it goes, have a great day and enjoy pro wrestling.